a great honor for him to be the first to stride out across the Betway Premiership's black carpet, fitting for A.K.A.
Yeah, I'm sure the outfit, of course, he knew that there was going to be a black carpet, but this man also, like, he's done so much for a lot of Pirates, and also to really cement that the fact that they've been trying just to stop that dominance from Mamelodi Sundowns, and look at how they did it. Now they've got 69 points to work towards, and this is the trophy that has been eluding them for so long.
And he is making sure that it is in pristine condition for the gentleman that will follow him down the carpet. First though, the dignitaries, Lala, CEO of the Premier Soccer League, giving a hearty reception from the players and Pirates staff that have assembled alongside the black carpet. Now, front of the queue, a man who came well prepared and certainly well dressed. Markham of the Slumwadi will shortly have one of those draped around his neck. Took over Marumo Gallants towards the latter stages of last season. In his first game in charge, beat Orlando Pirates. He probably was on their radar from that point onwards, thinking he is a potential successor for Jose Rivero. And what an appointment he has turned out to be. They did win their opening empty in 8th game quite emphatically against Bulawayo City, but then suffered back-to-back league defeats, and the early alarm bells started to ring, especially after their match day 2 loss to Marumo Gallants, in which they squandered a lead, and the fans must have been thinking, well, this held so much promise, but what are we in for this season? But steady the ship. From that point, they went 12 unbeaten in the Betway Premiership after their defeat to Marumo Gallants. 14 unbeaten rather, with 12 wins. Along the way, during that period, they did crash out of the CAF Champions League, which will be bitterly disappointing for them, but considering how now, season upon season, they've built on their previous accomplishments, you would anticipate that that will be a massive priority for them in the coming campaign, that they at the very least get into the group stages. And now the players are starting to be awarded their medals, with Osman Apollos, a tremendous season for Apollos. Inele Batume has taken quite a bit of flack, missed a lot of opportunities this season, but has proved his worth, and Abdeslam Wadu has stuck with him.
Stuck with him indeed, and from a player that also that was playing for Richards Bay, there's a lot of things that he needed to improve in his game to be the starter on this team. And yes, Coach Wadu believed in him, and as a footballer, once you have the type of a coach that believes in him, it really helps you to be able to really improve your game, and which he has done tremendously so.
Well, there were certainly ups and downs in the season. After putting together that 14-game unbeaten run, they lost to Mamelodi Sundowns, and you thought as though the momentum had shifted back to the incumbent champions. But down this final stretch, certainly with the Brazilians having been heavily involved in continental action, having to split their focus, it made things very tricky for them. Pirates themselves slipped up a couple of times over the course of what has been a very impressive 13-game unbeaten run to end the season, but draws against Sibilele and Richards Bay appeared to be particularly damaging, although Sundowns over those very similar periods also slipped up. Here's a man who's very, very popular in the change room and amongst the fans. Nkosinathi Sibisi was perhaps not everyone's first choice when he was signed from the Wonderful Golden Arrows, but my word, as he proved his worth during his time at the Buccaneers. He has helped Orlando Pirates keep 21 clean sheets. He hasn't been involved in all of them this season. They've conceded only 12 goals. Incredibly impressive. A previous club record from 2 seasons ago was 15 goals conceded, which in of itself is a brilliant accomplishment, but this is something special. Plus 46 goal difference, the best in the Buccaneers' history. Of course, they're 58 goals. They've never managed that in a 30-game season. They went 6 beyond the previous best ever tally in a 30-game season. 21 wins, a new club record. 69 points, a new club record. Phenomenal season. And now, he will be the man to accept the trophy and to share this glorious moment with his teammates. It was an unfancied Spaniard who made Pirates believe again. A Moroccan who built on that success, tasked with dethroning a continental powerhouse, and it was a side packed with South African stars that executed that mandate. And after 14 long years, they will wait just a moment longer, just a few moments longer. In 2026, your Betway Premiership winners are the men from Orlando, the Buccaneers. It's Orlando Pirates who claim the title. Well, we knew it would take something special to dethrone Mamelodi Sundowns, who had won it 8 seasons in succession. And during their 14-year wait, Pirates had been runners-up 8 times. 3 times in succession coming into this campaign. We knew it would take something special, and they have produced an absolutely sensational campaign. Now, there's a man who has won the South African League title before, and actually fittingly as a man who missed out on the league title so many times before winning it, as many of these Pirates players have. Try and describe the feeling for us.
I mean, the feeling is undescribable, to be honest with you. You know, but once you lose the first, then you get to understand the importance of winning the league. Not every footballer that was given an opportunity to play in a top 5 football will be able to win the league. And the day that I lost, came second with Orlando Pirates, also Mamelodi Sundowns as well. But the moment that you left the trophy, you feel like all the sacrifices you've been going through as a player, you know, to come back and compete against, 15 other teams and still beat them and be the champion. I mean, best cement to them why we play this type of football. Why we play professional football. So I'm so happy for the players to get to understand and get the chance to become champions. Of course, Mamelodi Sundowns dominated for the last 8 years. You can just imagine every season when you're going through a season, what are the conversations like? And now to be champions also, in a week or 2 weeks time, that list that's going to be said. You want to find your name also on that plane going to the World Cup of this. The secret challenge is, I'm sure with all the sacrifices that we're going to do, especially this season, I think this cement is why the team supposed to be where they are.
Well, it's the second longest wait they've ever had to endure for a league title. They went 18 years without a league title between 1976 and 1994. They've had to wait 14 years this time around. And worth reiterating that this is their 3rd trophy of the season, completing yet another domestic treble, as they did in 2012 when they last won it, as they did the season prior in 2011. So, a side that had previously done back-to-back trebles, maybe that's the benchmark for them. Maybe that's the aim for the coming campaign.
I can imagine that. So when I was, now when you're talking, I remember today, my first trophy ever to win as a footballer with a club. It was the league star. And it was those moments when you start believing that you'll never win anything, because any team that I left, you started winning the league. And once you win it, you get to understand it, and then, all the pressure that goes out of your body, and for the staff, for all the young players, all the chances that they take, and also from the coaches, with the pressure that comes in, after the successful coach, that many can still say, really was a very successful coach. They need to do this for a club that has been, winning a trophy, and been losing it for 40 years. I'm sure this is very, very special.
Very, very special, and it took a special effort. It took a record-breaking campaign from an Orlando Pirates perspective. I don't think there's been an instance where they've broken as many of their own club records in a single season. But that's the kind of quality you have to produce when you're competing against a continental juggernaut like Mamelodi Sundowns, who will try and bring more pride to the country tomorrow. Maybe in Morocco, where they've learned that the Pirates have just claimed the title, I think we're in for something even more spectacular next season, if that is even possible. Many have said this has been the best title race, one of the best seasons in recent memories, and certainly a fitting way to end the season.
Especially when we saw that the number one became that one of the best seasons of actually season. When we talk about who's going to really challenge Mamelodi Sundowns, we always say the Pirates are capable of doing that, and they show the intention early on into the season by the type of players that they signed for them to compete in this manner.
And in truth, they have been quite significantly behind Sundowns. In the seasons where they have been as runners up the last 3 seasons in particular, they did come close to the 2018-19 season that also went down to the wire, but Sundowns had the advantage on that day. Pirates,
The new school legend of the Pirates, the class of 2025-2026, that is taking its football club from challengers to champions. I'm going to start with Austin Apollos. Austin, we've had a number of conversations about what it takes to win the A.K.A Premiership. Please be careful. Come on. We've had a number of conversations about what it takes to win the A.K.A Premiership. What did it take for this team to go from the disappointment of last weekend to today?
We're talking about sacrifice and hard work, and the team did it today, but not just today, I want to congratulate the whole squad, even the players who are understand, they work hard with us, to be champions today. So I want to say to everyone, the staff, the girls, cooking for us, everyone together. I just want to say thank you to everyone.
Samuel, at what stage do you think, as a team, you guys realized it's possible to win?
To be honest, Northeast from Matomo, Rome, the team don't and one thing about us, we are united. I think that's why we made it.
And for
this is so we are believing about
a few more questions just to you specifically, because you've been an integral part of everything good about the Orlando Pirates this season. We spoke when you guys won one of the cups earlier on in the campaign. You've now landed the biggest fish in the country. How do you feel about your contribution first and foremost?
First and foremost, I have to give credit, to the team for helping me, and for the club, who signed me at the beginning of the season. I just want to say thank you to the board, thank you for the coach for believing in me, and to my teammates who believe in me, because it's a collective, and we did it together, so I just want to say thank you to everyone, and one more thing, we can't forget it, our fans, they've been hard on us, but it helped us, go today, and we managed to be champions, so I just want to say thank you to the fans in South Africa, there's some who's not here today, we just want to say thank you for your support back home.
I can only imagine those moments where it seems as if the fans are on top of you, and it is very difficult. I can only imagine as a professional footballer, especially someone that's still very young, what got you guys as a football club through those moments, and especially the last couple of weeks where you guys were dropping points, Sundowns dropping points. What kept you guys focused on the prize?
Yeah, for us, we knew that we have advantage, and we were a little bit disappointed, in our draw last week, but we know that we are good enough, to overcome and score goals, and that's what the boys did today. And like I said, I just want to give credit to the whole team, for the people who are sitting upstairs, the injured ones, we have that through the season. I just want to say thank you to everyone.
First time in 14 years this football club is a league champion.
Yes, I think when they signed, I think they signed 11 players, our goal was, to win the league. And today, we can all be proud, thank you, like I said, thank you to the board who trusted us, who signed us. And what can I say more, just happy to be a champion. Congratulations, go and celebrate. Thank you so much.
That's Austin Paulus, champion indeed, brought to this football club to do exactly what he's done. Amongst many other players, as he's mentioned as well, to lead this particular football club past the barrier of being second place finishes and into, indeed, the waters of champions of the Betway Premiership.
All right, well, we let Wisely run around and try and grab a few more interviews. Reflect on a season where Orlando Pirates lost one of their standout players halfway through the campaign, because Bukazi going to Chicago Fire, where he's doing tremendous workouts in Major League Soccer in the United States. And Scott Matsubisi, who hasn't played as much as he did in the previous campaign, then finds himself front and center, captain's armband restored to his arm, and forming a phenomenal partnership with Siema.
I can imagine the feeling that he has right now, knowing exactly how the season started with Siema and Mboga to find himself in this position where he started playing again and to become a champion. So we'd like to hear today what Lordy has to say with Sibisi, who is a champion today. A champion indeed, Tiko Odise, and a man who for the first time in 14 years is going to be replacing Lucky Lekwati as the captain to finally lift the Betway Premiership title. I'm not going to take my time in trying to disturb him because he's having quite the evening with the fans who absolutely love him. He's been making sure throughout the course of particularly the second half that he's imploring them to give him as much support as they possibly can, and that's exactly what they did. But let me bother you for a bit. The Yazzie Sub 90, the Yazzie celebrations are going to go on for a long time. Just try and put into words what this means for you, firstly, and then this team that you've been leading.
I can't really put it into words, You have to take it on as it comes. It's been a tough, grueling season, And credit to the boys. These boys never gave up, Even when the odds were against us, and there was doubt. But these boys kept on believing, and, I'm very, 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 very happy that you are able to select today.
I can imagine those doubts were extremely loud, particularly after 3 seasons finishing second behind Mamelodi Sundowns. So then, take us back to pre-season camp. The words that were shared to drive this football club to this particular platform.
It was from the very first goal, we knew we were always second, and we had to close that gap. That was the first step, and for the club to bring in the players that they bought, quality players to add value to what we've been doing, and credit to the guys who are not with us as well. I'm amazing, the guys who are part of us, and unfortunately they had to leave in January, but this one goes to them, and the reason I'm sitting here is because these guys never left us, and it means a lot to me.
I can tell just how emotionally you're getting when you're speaking about the fans. They haven't made it easy for you guys. There's been sometimes where they've asked you guys to be more than what you are, more than what you can give. Just how important have they been really in driving the Pirates back to the top of South African football?
They've been massive, As a family, they'll always be
fights here and there, but it's how we move forward that never left us. I think 70% of the games that we played in crack stadiums, and credit to them, they spend their hard-earned money to come and watch the boys, and the boys never disappointed. I want to ask you this as someone who's been there for the past couple of seasons where, yes, trying to push Mamelodi Sundowns all the way, they've certainly found a way to break away from you guys late on in the season. How important have they been in, I guess, raising the standard and reminding you guys as well that you guys can be better than you've been in the past 3 seasons? Yeah, they've been massive, psychologically. Whenever we know going Durban, Cape Town, wherever we go, feels like we're playing at home, And for them, credit for coming out in their numbers. And they've played a massive boost, and it can only go onwards from there. Coach Abdeslam Wadu. Yeah, they say the man, the myth, top human being, top coach, It's been a pleasure working with him. He's brought in some elements, which have helped us throughout our game. We can tell the number of clean sheets we've kept and the number of goals we've scored. I think there's been records broken left, right, and center. And, to do it with such a young squad, it speaks volume of the squad. Tell us more about this young squad, because again today, Silepe, man of the match, had a bit of a difficult sort of return last week. A week later, he's the most outstanding player in the game that clinches the title for Orlando Pirates. Yeah, I think, Silepe is an international player, as young as he is, and as young as these boys are, they've been delivering week in, week out. And, to be able to cope in that kind of pressure, to handle the pressure from the supporters, from the media, from everyone, it speaks volumes, and credit to him. What a performance today, and it can only grow from here. One more question before I let you go. I know you've got some celebration to do. If you look back on the season, I know final whistle was, probably half an hour ago. Is there one game that stands out for you where you felt as if, as a team, we definitely have won the season? I know final whistle was, probably half an hour ago. Is there one game that stands out for you where you felt as if, as a team, we definitely have what it takes to be champions again? Yeah, there's a couple, but I think the one that stood out for me was the one in Richards Bay, where the boys didn't give up. We were always coming from behind, and it wasn't the case most of the season where we've always been leading, and to have that character to say the never die attitude and to score that last minute equalizer, I think that point is what put us here today.